Welcome back, friends.
Maybe an unknown from the Twilight Zone.
Today we're taking a look at the NECA Toys San Diego Comic-Con 2023 exclusive ALF Ultimate Cosmic Con action figure. This thing just looked too awesome to pass up with all his Comic-Con gear, vintage 80s electronics, big old brick cell phone, badge, and all of that. How we do, we're going to really dial into the details, check out his articulation, all of these awesome accessories, compare it to some other figures. I'll sum it all up at the end, and then I'll get out of your hair. How he comes right out of the box, this is Gordon Shumway, the alien life form from the planet Melmac. NECA Toys is known for their high level of visual fidelity, and this figure is no exception. Getting closer to the head here, look at that, those oily black soulless eyes. And this big old schnoz thing here, little swoop of hair, it's a softer plastic. The ears, the fur sculpt with the extra paint in there. How cool is that? And let's not forget this awesome little soft goods Hawaiian shirt. His Melmac Cosmic Con Intergalactic badge. And this is a softer plastic. It is essentially the same as the retail release, just with different accessories. As we check out the articulation, I'll pull this shirt. It is just Velcroed on here. But otherwise, be prepared to just see more of this same sculpted, painted detail underneath it. Little hands, you get in there, and he's got the little pads and everything. Huge legs, huge. Get inside this little articulated mouth. Look at that, all the better for eating cats with. That was his shtick. Bruh. You know, down here, this little Winnie the Pooh thing he's got going on. He's got this little tail, shirt cocking it. Legs are a couple of pieces, shingled nicely. You don't really see the joints. Big old crazy Care Bear feet here. These are little pads. Stuff on the bottom. And you know, they got peg holes, and they've hidden all this information down here. Oh, and you get a 2022 date on the sculpt because it is this reuse of the last one. Which is also funny because I believe that was still a 2023 release. But anyway, I think we've done all the staring we need to do. Let's check out the articulation. Whip your shirt off. He's got this sweet little mouth that works. It's kind of the upper piece of the head. It opens like this far, closes most of the way. This whole head neck apparatus will rotate all the way around. It's on a little dumbbell joint. It'll look back this far and down this far. And you get a great amount of tilt and attitude. Just kind of socketed down in there. Shoulders are socketed into the torso here. These nice hinges, and they will come up to a 90. They'll also rotate all the way around. Double jointed elbow system that'll come up this far, and it'll swivel on either point of that elbow piece. It's just like a third section. You got these hands with a hinge on those going back this far, and they'll come forward a little bit. Tiny little peg. Just fine. Upper torso piece is pegged in like such, and it'll rotate all the way around. You can lean down just a touch, back quite a bit, and the legs will come all the way out to the sides here on these balls. They'll rotate on that sucker a little bit too, pretty sweet. Kicks forward like this, back all the way. Single jointed knee, can work that hinge to a 90, and it will rotate because of the way that's just pegged in there. And then you got these feet, also big old hinge you can kind of get a peek at there. It'll come back a little bit, forward a little bit, and it rocks pretty well. As well as, you know, I guess that kind of turns on a... Anyway, pretty solid for being this stubby, furry little friend. Checking out the accessories. You forgot to bring snacks! While I do think the initial release's cat on a hoagie roll is one of the coolest accessories I've ever seen, all of this killer, like, 80s electronics really put it over the top for me. He comes with the big old brick type cell phone, really nicely detailed, and you should expect no less from NECA. This stuff is all sculpted in here on the back and little lines. It could have just been painted. Don't let me be encouraging anyone to cut corners here, man. This is amazing. Look at that. And the receiver ends, and you got little speaker holes. There's the mic. Wow. Wow. Old gigantic VHS camcorder. Man, this is what I grew up screwing with, trying to make stop motions. The trick was it's not instantaneous when you press the buttons. What an actual nightmare that was. This is really well detailed. Hard plastic, sculpting everywhere. But the cool things to note here are the steps they've taken. The strap here is a softer plastic. You can slip his hand in there without as much worry about destroying it. You know, we already sort of looked at his badge here. This comes on him, and this is that same softer plastic material. And it's painted and detailed really well. The shirt, of course, nice and crispy. Comes with a Melmac Cosmic Con Intergalactic bag, too, for holding all his sweet loot. And this will, of course, go over his shoulders, and you can fill it with things. Sunglasses, look at these. And I do want to point out, while you could certainly destroy them, it's not just a straight brittle plastic. It's got a little bit of flex. It is the slightly softer stuff. What I want to spotlight there real quick, I have a bunch of Hot Toys. I freaking love those, right? But, man, I have broken a couple pairs of Hot Toys shades because they are that really, really brittle plastic. Borrowed these from Clint here for a minute. And, of course, I mean, these look perfect. They look like sunglasses. It's got that shiny bit. But you know who really puts it over the top here? It's companies like Hasbro and Mattel that are these completely soft material. You're not going to destroy them because you're going to have to warp them and try to stretch them over people's faces. I just wanted to point that out. I think NECA has hit a really nice middle ground. They used to have a reputation, at least in my eyes, for a lot of their stuff being incredibly brittle. It is not so here. It is not so here. You get this really nice SLR with all the requisite detailing in here. Look at that. There's a metallic paint there for the lens so it refracts a little bit. Flash up here and a soft strap again. And then a complement of hands, including a couple of graspers, a tighter and a more open, and a couple of pointing hands, you know. Put on the shades, put on the shirt, have him walking around the con. Hey! And that same great level of detail with the little pads and everything else. Really solid stuff. The NECA Toys Alien Life Form stands 6 inches tall. We'll throw up some more NECA stuff for comparison. It's everybody's favorite TMNT, April O'Neil, and Splinter. Next, we have the Comic Con Kino and the Raphael 4-packs Donatello. Reviews for both up on the channel now. Here he is next to the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, Martian Manhunter, and Blue Beetle. Throwing up some toys you might have been touching during old Gordon's run on television, we've got the Playmates toys Michelangelo and Krang. Here he is next to a couple of cats. Where'd they go? Next to the excellent Jada Toys Street Fighter II Ryu and Hasbro's Pleasure Man.
Deep, deep, deep in the night.
And finally, next to the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Boba Fett and the Marvel Legends Morning Coffee Mostly Bucky Cap Deadpool. I've got to say, summing it up here at the end, I am really floored by this package. My dark secret is that I saw that initial ALF release on the shelf, like right after they announced it. Pretty much before I saw anyone else getting them. And I had that opportunity, but about $35 for something that doesn't necessarily fit the themes that I collect. But it was that cat on a hoagie that almost put it over the top for me. And I should have. Now that I have this one, I probably will pick up on that for a reasonable price, hopefully in the future. But when I saw this guy announced with all the Cosmic Con stuff, that really put it over the top for me. All of these 80s themed accessories, and I was born in the 80s. So some of this stuff, it really speaks to me. That jumbo camcorder, and it just, from an aesthetic standpoint, as NECA does, they really, really nail the details. And it's nice that in recent years, maybe the last 5 or so, the quality of the figures and accessories, and just the stuff itself, the playability is really off the scale. It doesn't seem nearly as brittle. Sometimes if you don't know that, just looking at this stuff and having that idea about a NECA product in your head, you're like, oh man, I'll take it out of the package and snap all the joints right off. And the figure is really not like that. None of the joints were stuck out of the package. I didn't apply heat or anything. And they all work great. The feel of the figure. It's that same NECA high quality, but he doesn't feel brittle at all. Has surprisingly great articulation for such a stumpy, weird little figure. And all of those accessories, the care and attention to detail. I mean, this is a case where just the complement of accessories encouraged me to purchase the thing. And even though it's billed as a Comic-Con exclusive, I got it without going there. And it was not even more expensive than the regular release. In fact, I might be tripping here, but I think it was $1 or $2 less. I feel like in the store, I saw that regular release at 37, whatever. They're pushing it up to 40. How dare these people? And I really, whether you're a fan of ALF or not, I can't say enough good things about this release. I am really hard pressed to find realistic things to complain about. As someone who generally loves the, quote unquote geek culture, all of this pop culture nonsense, conventions and throwbacks, this thing checks so many boxes. It is a really, really cool release. I would highly recommend this. Just like I would highly recommend you checking out some of the other stuff on my channel. See what works for you. I love the Ninja Turtles. I love the X-Men. I do a lot of videos on things like that. And we're just in that culture cycle swing of all the cool stuff coming out. And so I try to get my hands on as much of it as is reasonable and share it with you guys here. With the ultimate goal, of course, being to give you the best information to decide for yourself if it's something that you want. I'll see you next time. Thanks.